First of all, I hate the whole height filter thing. I think it's ridiculous. But the fact is that it's on the dating app, right?
Yes.
And women are using the filter, and they're literally not going to see your face if you don't meet that benchmark.
Yes.
So you might as well play a little bit dirty. And welcome to the Emily and Todd Podcast. Today we're talking about dating apps and what men can do on dating apps in order to improve their success rate. Before we get started, I want to remind viewers to please like and comment on this video, as it does really help with the YouTube algorithm. So Todd, here we are talking about dating apps again.
Yes.
And I think what we want to emphasize first is I don't think it's really the ideal way to meet somebody. But the reality is today that a lot of people meet that way. From my perspective, like if you're going to do it, you might as well put in just a little bit more effort than maybe you really wanted to initially. Because if not, like you might as well just not be on there.
Yes.
Because I think that if you're not putting in the effort and you're not doing these things that we're going to talk about, like you're just not going to have success. And that might just end up making you feel worse.
It'll definitely make you feel worse.
Yeah.
And the odds are against you anyways, if you're kind of in that average range.
Yeah.
Or below for sure. So it's something that the odds are already stacked against you. And it's not your fault, just the way that it is at this point. So what are some things that guys should do? So if you're swiping on an app like Bumble or something like that, what have you seen that is, an instant like turn off?
I think the first thing is definitely the photo, right? And it might seem superficial, but that is the first thing and the only thing that comes up first. You have to choose to swipe down to the bio. So like off the top of my head, if a guy has a photo where like you can't even like see him clearly, or it's like terrible lighting, a terrible angle, that's a bit off-putting. Because like, if he couldn't even have the effort level to just get a clear shot of himself, then, what kind of effort is he really going to put into dating? Like that's the carryover, I think, that women are thinking when they, see a picture that just doesn't have any effort put into it.
I'm also seeing that on social media as well. It's just, how bad guys' profiles are. And so it's something that I think women could a lot of times might look at the profiles through the lens of if they were putting in profile or their profile, the effort that they put in, and that it's not even close as far as the quality of the photographs and, the types of photographs that are taken, that, it becomes a big turnoff for them because it shows that lack of effort. Like you said in the beginning, if you're going to be on there, you need to put maximum effort. So the first thing I would recommend is that, guys, if you're going to be on there, get professional photograph taken. If you have to take some time and save up money, it's going to be worth it, because what a professional photographer can make you look like versus a selfie, which I would never recommend, or your buddy taking the photo, is going to be vastly different. The other option, find someone that you're in their friend zone and have them...
Probably the case.
And have them take some good photos of you, because women are masters with the camera.
It's actually a really good idea. Like finally get something out of being in that friend zone. Finally go for that ask.
Yes, exactly. Because it's something that, and I think most women would be up for that. They would see it as a challenge.
Yeah. My gosh, I even will ask strangers sometimes to like take a photo of me and whoever I'm with.
Sure.
And it's got to be a girl. And I would say like at least 75% of the time when it is a girl that I'm asking, she's taking multiple angles, multiple shots.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that's really good advice, because women do put in that effort when they're putting in their photos into a dating app.
Yes.
And they're using filters too most times, which I know is a whole nother thing that like a lot of guys hate, because they want to make sure that she actually looks like the way that she does in her photos. And we're not saying that like, he should go to that extent to use filters, but just using decent lighting and getting that distance away You know, because you're right. Like, I don't think that selfies are a good thing for guys to do.
Well, yeah, and most guys don't even know how to take selfies, myself included.
Yeah.
And so I would disagree a little bit with you as far as the use of filters. I think you have to fight fire with fire.
Ooh, you think so?
And so it's because it's getting through the door. It's landing that first date. And it's one of those things where maybe you don't look as great as your photos, but neither is the woman.
Yeah.
And is that the ideal way to start up things? No, but if women are doing this in mass, which I believe that they are, then why should guys say, I'm not going to do that. I have to look, completely natural, like I just got out of bed.
Well, I guess the reasoning.
I know it's extreme, but
no, I guess the reasoning matters, right? Like, if he doesn't want to use the filter because he doesn't want to stoop to her level, then like, I don't think that's the reasoning that should be made. What I was thinking was more that like filters are designed for women because women use them. Mm-hmm. So those usually will like smooth your skin out or widen your eyes or actually put makeup on you. Mm-hmm. Like some of these filters on Instagram will do that. Mm-hmm. Now, so of course he doesn't want to use those.
Yeah, sure.
But I do agree, I guess, like if it's a color filter, and say he has like nice hazel eyes or green eyes, and he just wants to bring that out, then yeah. But I think like taking away wrinkles, like I don't think guys need to do that because I think a lot of times they will look more attractive, and you don't want to look too young as a man. You don't want to like skin, to be completely baby smooth.
Of course. Yeah, I guess I was just thinking of saying, okay, how can I make myself look the best possible given what technology we have today? Mm-hmm. The second kind of piece to that is, kind of understanding that there should be kind of a layout of photos. Ideally, the first photograph should be just kind of a headshot, head and shoulders. And then the second one should be a full body shot. Third one maybe should be with friends. Mm-hmm. And that could be tricky because some guys don't have a lot of friends.
If you've been in a wedding, I think that's the best like guy group photo to do.
Yes.
Because you look nice, right? You're in a nice suit and you have other guys around you that also look nice. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like it kind of highlights the status that she's looking for, that like you're able to have that look, you know?
And I think that it also shows that you're able to have friends who are able to get married, which shows that they have a pretty high value. And
that's a really good point. Other than photos and possibly, doing what women do and using filters, do you think there's other things that men should do that maybe is a little bit borderline, not completely true about themselves, but, they should just do it in order to play in the game?
Well, I think the height issue is one of them for sure. And I think it's okay to give yourself a couple inches on there, as long as it's not something where it ends up being, completely false. Because the reality is that a woman is not going to be able to tell the difference if you're 5'10" or you're 6 feet tall.
So
unless she's 5'10" herself, which the majority of women, I think the average woman is in the U.S. is 5'4". Mm-hmm. So that's 6 inches above. So the reality is that if you do that, especially women who say they're only looking for 6 feet and above, you know what? Again, maybe you can get in the door. Mm-hmm. And once you get in the door, then I don't think that's going to even be in a woman's mind when she meets you, unless it's a huge disparity.
Mm-hmm. I actually agree with you. Because I first of all, I hate the whole height filter thing. I think it's ridiculous. But the fact is that it's on the dating app, right? Yes. And women are using the filter, and they're literally not going to see your face if you don't meet that benchmark.
Yes.
So you might as well play a little bit dirty. And what is 2 inches? Is she really going to call you out on that? No. Like, she really will not call you out on it. Yeah. I don't think I would ever call him out.
If she even noticed.
If she even noticed. Yeah. And by then, like, you know, when you're going out and meeting her, you could be wearing boots or shoes or
Yes, exactly.
whatever it is. Or she could be in high heels. And so she even has a hard time,
Yes.
you know, determining based off of her height how tall you really are.
Yes.
But I just think, like, if she likes your personality enough to even go out on that first date, like, she's already in it a bit. And so she's not going to let the little tiny difference of height break it.
Yeah. Well, I would tweak that and say, if she likes your looks enough to go out on the first date, then she'll get to know your personality potentially. But so it's
Touché.
so it's altering how you look, being the best version of yourself, so that you can get in the door, so you can showcase your personality.
Yeah. And that's what matters, right? Like, we're not talking about anything where you're hiding something about yourself that is actually important to get in the door.
It's just kind of being like women have been forever, as far as, you know, maximizing their self, except for, you know, I would say that, and this might even be a little controversial, but for example, if a guy had some blemishes, why not use some foundation for photos?
Oh, yeah.
Versus a full face of makeup, but, you know, just something to, if they had, you know, some kind of an issue. Again, I'm not trying to make people younger or to completely change how they look, but, you know, the whole reason women wear makeup is to enhance their natural beauty. So if it was something like that, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
That's not a bad idea, but I also feel like he could just ask the photographer to go in there and remove the blemishes. Like, I think guys would probably have an easier time with that than actually putting foundation on their face. They might have a really difficult time, you know, crossing that line. But yeah, to ask, I mean, even like when my kids get school photos, you have that option to check mark the box of please remove blemishes from the children's face. So, I mean, most people are doing it even for their kids.
Yes. Well, if the competition is so stiff that's one of the things that potentially rule you out, and it's something potentially that's transient, you know, like having difficulties with acne or something. It's something where do you want to kind of rule yourself out versus getting that taken care of? Right. Because, you know, like, for example, getting rid of acne, that might be a process that takes some time. But in the meantime, it's like, do you want to showcase that you're struggling with acne, or do you want to get to the point where you can get in the door?
Yeah. And there's something to be said about, like, if she's looking at a photo, there's just so much time involved there to, like, stare at somebody's face and notice all of those little things. Whereas, like, if you were in person talking, like, she really wouldn't even notice it as much as in a photo. Because you're focused, you know, you're making eye contact. She's focused on what she's saying. I think it's just really different.
There's other things too. I think that you need to be smiling in your photos, at least especially the first one. Like, don't wear sunglasses. I would say don't wear a hat.
I was going to say, what about the hats?
I would say don't wear it because if you're balding, for example, like, I think you just got to own it at that point and, like, make the best of it versus try to hide it and cover it up. Again, maybe if you have one photo where you're outside and you're using a hat in order to protect yourself from the sun at a game or whatever, it's something that's fine. But if every photo has a hat in it, like, then that's going to be something where the woman's going to, you know, say what's going on.
I agree with that. Yeah, she's going to know, you know, that there's something going on. And then at that point, you know, you're not owning it. I think the same goes for, like, if you are balding that much up on top of your head, like, even if you just fully shave your head, I think that's another level of owning it.
And I think then the other thing is important is to dress nicely and show a variety. Like, every guy looks good in a suit.
Yes, I agree.
And I think it's something where if you get a well-fitted suit, then that should be one of your photographs, because, you know, it demonstrates a few different things too. One is that you can afford a suit. Two is that you're the type of guy that wears one. So maybe you're going to take her out to a really nice restaurant in the future or something like that.
I would even consider making that the first photo. What do you think about that? Having the suit shot as the first one?
It's a little tough. I think it would probably be the second one, maybe the full body shot.
Yeah.
Just because you don't want it to look like a graduation picture, you know, in a yearbook.
Yeah, I get that. I guess
Like
the
it's
way
too posed.
to pose, I get that. I guess the only reason why I was thinking maybe is because like so many women won't even go into the bio, but thinking about the most important things that attract a woman to a man, of course, just being attractive physically, but then status and money, right, is the other like two pieces. And those things would be evident by his career potentially. But if she's not even going into the bio, she doesn't even see his career. Do you think there's other ways, like in a photo, to show status, to draw that piece?
Sure. I mean, I think it's something where if you are on vacation somewhere exotic or, tropical or whatever, it's something, take some good photos there and put it up. And, it kind of shows that you're a traveler, that you have the ability to, or the interest to, kind of put yourself in different situations.
I think that's a good idea, especially somewhere tropical is a very safe option because every woman wants that.
Yeah, who doesn't want to go, and that's the thing, is that even if you're visiting your grandmother in Florida, like go down to the ocean and, take some photos on a pier somewhere.
Yeah.
That type of thing. It doesn't have to be in Aruba.
Yeah. I was thinking even like if you could get like a red carpet type photo somewhere in the bio, where I was saying there's a lot of restaurants even around here that will have that kind of set up, and it's not anything big. Like literally anyone can walk up to it and get their photo taken.
Yes.
And it just looks, I don't know, it looks like you have more status. It looks like you're doing something. You're at an event.
Yes.
If you have that background piece behind you, and if you're in the, photo with somebody else.
Yes.
Or with a couple other people that also look like, they're dressed up.
Yes, like you're going to a premiere or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you have the opportunity to do that, I think that would be great for sure.
What do you think about, other than just putting up photos of how you look now? Are there things that men can do before really taking that step and putting up photos of themselves and creating the profile?
Yeah, I mean, I think that in this day and age, men, if they want to be competitive in the dating market, because it's so tough, I think you have to do everything possible to be as presentable as possible and also give the woman the least amount of options for her to not choose you. And so that's where I'm really a strong proponent of making sure that you are as fit as possible. And, it's essentially looks maxing. Hate to use that kind of Gen Z term, but it says it. And so my feeling would be, it'd be to take an honest evaluation of kind of where you are as far as versus your potential. And then saying to yourself, okay, I want to try to get as close to my potential as possible before I put myself in an environment, because if you do that, you're going to give yourself the best chance of success.
I think that a lot of guys will get discouraged if they are on a dating app before they really know what they're doing. It's their first time, and then they're not successful. And then if they're so discouraged to where they're just, not wanting to put in any effort into it because they haven't received anything back for the little bit of effort that they have put into it, that's where it gets into that cycle.
Yes.
I think
you have to have the mindset of that it's really, really difficult to start with. And even if I do my best, there's a good chance that it's a very low percentage game. And it's only going to be one of the things that I do in order to potentially connect with somebody. However, it's one of those things where you have to, if you're going to put yourself in that environment, you have to put your best foot forward. And I would say that would extend to, forget the dating apps, but just every time you leave the house.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If we're talking about just having a good wardrobe, a good style, be groomed, that's all stuff that is going to be very visible and seen outside of the dating app.
Yes.
So you're really just in general, if you're looking to date, those are the things that you should be doing in order to be successful in all ways.
Yes. And this is our most superficial episode to date, but at the same time, it's something that it really matters. That's the hard pill to swallow. So let's talk about some other things that guys can really do to maximize their chances.
Well, still talking about the photos too. Like, I'm just thinking about TikToks, things on social media that I've seen women complain about.
Okay.
And not only the height thing, but I think the next most popular thing is talking about guys holding the fish.
Yes.
Like, they're just, as soon as they see the fish picture as the first photo,
Yes.
or even into the bio, they're done. They're
Yes.
swiping left. And I've talked about this a lot on my TikTok, because I honestly think that it's ridiculous to swipe left on somebody because they have a hobby.
Yes.
But what is your opinion on that? What do you think? Because
Well,
women are saying this.
yeah, that's something where I think if women are finding that to be in poor taste and they're going to swipe left on you, then it'll be something that get rid of the fish.
Just do it.
just do not have any fish on your photos. I know you're proud of it. I know it's something that was difficult to get into the boat, and it's something that you can continue to fish. We're never telling anybody to stop their hobbies. But at the same time, if it's something that is going to not be helpful for you, get rid of it. It's that simple.
Yeah. See, my first instinct was don't get rid of the fish picture, right? Because it weeds those women out.
I know, but it weeds every woman out, though.
It weeds every minus maybe 5%.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
But I do, I've thought about it more, and I do think that, if you're putting up a photo of a hobby that you do a few times a year, is it worth highlighting in your profile? Because I think what happens is that when a woman sees that, she's probably imagining you going out and doing that on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Sure. Which is probably not the case. Like, most guys are too busy to be fishing that much.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I know one guy who fishes that much, and I know a lot of guys, and so it's something that the vast majority of guys probably do it a few times, and maybe they got some great fish that was really difficult to get, and they're really proud of it, and it's something that. Also, that's maybe one of the few times they've actually taken a photograph in that year. So
yeah, I think that happens a lot.
Yeah, so they're going to throw that on there. And also, I think what happens with the psyche of guys is that they say, okay, like, for example, when it comes to gym culture, a lot of guys try to get as big as possible. But the reality is that what they're doing is that they're actually only impressing other guys. Yes. Because most women don't really care.
They do not care about the gigantic muscles.
Exactly.
Most women don't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's something that they're doing because in their mind they see that as very attractive, but women don't. And so it's something that I think it's the same type of thing with the fish. It's kind of like that would impress your buddy if you showed him that picture of the fish. Or, if somebody showed you the picture of that fish, you would say, wow, that was really impressive. But a woman would say, no thanks.
Yeah. It's no big deal.
Exactly.
And then she might even be going down the thought process of, again, thinking that you do this very frequently, that this is your thing. She's not into that, right? That means you don't share that.
Yes.
Because most likely she's not a fisherwoman.
Yes.
Most likely.
Most likely.
So she would rather see things right off the bat that she can imagine herself doing with you.
Yes.
I think.
Exactly.
So.
And that's why I think if you're doing something that is maybe more active, like having a photo that shows you riding a bike, hiking.
I was going to say hiking.
Yes,
hiking is the most popular one on dating apps.
But taking a really impressive hiking photo like that, I think can be something where it shows you're an active person, that you're up for adventure and things like that versus, because even if you love playing video games, it's something where, you can't really, again, that's another thing which would impress another guy.
Mm-hmm.
But for a woman, it could be a turnoff. Obviously, you're not going to have a photo of you playing video games, but I'm just saying, like, if that's your hobby, it's really hard to showcase that in a way that is going to be attractive to women.
Yeah, that's where he probably would have written in there video games, which I guess I'm agreeing to that he should probably take that out.
I think he should not even have that. First of all, I think there's, like, most younger guys play video games at some for extent or another.
Right.
And so I think that's almost kind of a given. But it's something that is cause a lot of stress in relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, do you really want to highlight that you're a gamer from step one?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say no. I would say, just have these kind of classic photos of you looking your best, and realizing that even if that happens, the odds are very low. But at least you put the minimal effort to put a really good profile up. Mm-hmm. Because I have seen, I had a female friend of mine send me TikToks of women swiping through these dating apps and saying no to every guy, and most of their profiles were pretty terrible.
Yeah, and a lot of those are just like the photos that she's looking at.
Yes.
She's literally swiping on just the first photo.
Yes.
So maybe out of like 50 of them that she's looking at, she's only looking at 2 to 3 of the bios.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes.
I think that really emphasizes the importance of the photos.
Yes, it's huge.
Unfortunately,
but yeah, it's the way things are right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the other thing that would be important, I think this is only on Hinge, where you can have the voice memo.
Yes.
I think that is important because then it can showcase your personality to a certain degree. So if you're on that site, think of something really witty or funny to say, and then record it a few times until you get it right.
Especially if you have like a deep voice,
Mm-hmm.
a really masculine voice.
Yes.
Because women love that.
But when it comes to things like the bio or prompts, why reinvent the wheel? Because I guarantee if you go and Google, like, what's a great prompt to use, then you're going to get the top 100, and you're going to be able to pick from one of those and just take that from them.
Women really look at dating profiles, and if they are attracted to the picture to any degree, right? So if it's a yes or a maybe, she's going to look at the bio.
Yes.
And that's where she's looking to eliminate you. Mm-hmm. I think she is seeking that reason to swipe left instead of right. She's looking for the reason to say no.
Yes.
So I think that you do need to be careful about putting in too much, because that'll just give her more to eliminate you on.
Again, I think if it's like a tight bio and it's very witty, and I think that with a certain demographic of women, I think that could be the difference maker if they're on the maybes. What do you think? If it's something that just jumps out at you?
Okay, so I think if it's like the text written area, like I think that would be good to be tight and witty, yes. But I'm thinking about like, all the activities that you can add that you're into.
Okay.
And the guy has like a list of 20 things. Like I think that can be too much.
Okay, yeah.
Other too much info could be even if like you're a smoker, or if I think we were talking about the drinking options of like how much you drink is either what, social drinker, you're a non-drinker, or you're a heavy drinker. I don't know who would ever put heavy drinker in their bio, because
some guys do though.
But some guys do. And then it's like, what is the reasoning? Do they want to find another heavy drinker?
Either that or it's being completely honest.
And see, so that's, I think a lot of guys do. They try to be completely honest because they're already taking it to that next step. Like they don't want to end up on a date with a girl and then have her realize that he wasn't like completely open and honest with everything.
Yeah.
But I think that you made a good point at the beginning where it really is just you trying to get your foot in the door.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I'm wondering from a woman's perspective. Let's say the guy got in the door, as far as got your number, he texted you and got you on a date. When you go on the date, are you going to be looking at his profile and memorizing everything he said? Or are you just going to say, okay, I'm going to meet this guy and I'm going to, kind of see where it goes from there. I don't think that the process is he a heavy drinker? Is he not? So it's something where if you put your social drinker, even though, let's say you have issues with drinking, you need to work on that. It's something that if you put you're a heavy drinker, it's going to turn off probably 90% of women.
Yes.
So don't put that, even if you are.
Yes.
And if you are, you probably should look at that. But put that you're a social drinker. Don't anything that can rule you out, get rid of.
I agree with that. And I don't think she would not be looking at that profile before going on that first date and memorizing it. Like, she's not going to remember all the details.
Especially if she has 4 dates in the same night.
Yeah, exactly. And messaging so many guys at the same time.
Exactly.
She's not going to be able to keep it straight.
Exactly. And so it's really saying, can we use this as a tool to get in the door? And then once they meet, it's a different story. Because if you're not as tall as you were, or you don't look as great in your photos, you have a better chance after you actually get on the date versus if you can't even get, to that point. If you can't get any matches at all.